Much, Professor Kekar. So what do we mean by securing quality in registries and review of Garfield? And what I aim to do is look below the surface so that we can give you some insights into how it's conducted, and you will then judge the robustness of the data. These are my disclosures. You know the trials are different from registries. Trials necessarily have selected populations, selected centers, and they usually have audit, quality control, and independent endpoint adjudication. Registries are not all the same. They all aim to describe treatment practices and outcomes, and they all aim to be large and unselected, but only some have quality control and audit, and some have independent endpoint adjudication. There have been challenges in the past in that there's been conducted some registries that are selected centers. So in other words, if you have a registry in a coronary care unit, that won't necessarily reflect all of acute cardiac care. There may be a lack of training, quality control, and audit. There may be selected populations, and the outcome measures are not necessarily consistent in some of the prior registries. And Professor Kekar has shown you that there are a series of registries underway, and you need to judge the extent to which they meet or do not meet sufficiently robust standards. So what I'm going to talk about is Garfield. This is what happens in Garfield. The protocol requires that 20% of all the case record forms are monitored against the source documents. That is quite a challenge for a registry. That there's an electronic audit trail, and any data modifications can be tracked. The critical variables are subjected to additional audit, and it's in accordance with the Declaration of Helsinki. So there's electronic monitoring of the database, remote site monitoring, and on-site monitoring. So here I just show you an illustration, a snapshot, for example, as of November 2014, 97 sites, each one with 15 cases, so 1,010 source data verifications. And if you look at all these together, this is a major task achieved by the team associated with Garfield. If that's the task, what's the result? And the result is impressive. So here are the activities performed and the number of sites visited, 110, 112. That's the phase 2, the second cohort, the phase 3. And this is the discrepancy rate between the source data and the electronic records. Or shown another way, 94% concordance in phase 2, 96% concordance in phase 3. Many of us would be very pleased to have those data in a clinical trial. You've seen examples of a series of different registries. Please look carefully and ask the question, is the registry retrospective or prospective? This is not just an academic question, because if it's retrospective, there is a number of events shown in red that will not be included, whereas they would be included amongst newly diagnosed patients going prospectively. So what's the result? You can see that necessarily the frequency of death, 3.01%, is lower in retrospective cohorts because it excludes some of the patients leading up to the time of inclusion, but higher in the prospective cohorts, that the stroke and systemic embolism is also slightly higher, and the major bleeding rate are trending to be higher. And I emphasize that only in cohort 1 of Garfield was it split into retrospective and prospective. Thereafter, all the cohorts are prospective. So let's see, does it make a difference in terms of the patient characteristics? This is congestive heart failure, and higher classes of congestive heart failure are underrepresented in the retrospective cohort, and you can see that this is 27% of congestive heart failure of 3 or more classification versus nearly 33% in the prospective cohorts. So prospective and retrospective are not equivalent. The type of atrial fibrillation is not the same. Understandably, if you set up a retrospective registry, you're going to get more permanent AF, and you're going to get an underrepresentation of new onset atrial fibrillation due to the time lag since diagnosis. So this is the difference that you can see here. Permanent, shown in red, persistent, shown in olive color, purple, paroxysmal, and new, shown in light blue. Whereas in each of the prospective cohorts, the proportions are rather similar. The treatment of atrial fibrillation, retrospective and prospective, these are the two halves of cohort 1. And again, you can see that there is a difference. There is increasing use of anticoagulation with decreasing use of vitamin K antagonists and antiplatelets as you move through the successive cohorts, which are newer and newer in time. And there's a decrease in antiplatelet therapy, monotherapy, after cohort 2. You can see the antiplatelet monotherapy, green, has decreased going from cohort 2 to cohort 3. So how can we put this together? Registries, if they're appropriately designed and conducted, they can reflect real-life management and outcome. They can provide insights into the uptake of therapies, into clinical practice, the impact of guidelines, and time trends. What can they not do? They cannot tell you that treatment X is better than treatment Y. You need a randomized trial to answer that. And I would conclude that Garfield audit and quality assurance exceeds the standards of most large-scale registries and even some randomized trials. So we have secure data. Thank you.